So you have that standard Tesla screen inside of your vehicle, but it doesn't move. What if I tell you it could? Like, here we have today the screen swivel from our friends over at Hansho. And we're going to show you how to install this. It's very easy. It takes about 45 minutes. And I can't stress to you how nice it is to be able to look directly at the screen as you're driving or as you sit in the parking lot and being able to use it. It's a lot easier to use that way, and it also gets rid of the glare from the sun and other reflections as well. So don't forget to look in the description below to see how you can get some great discounts on this particular product, other Tesla products. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Hey everybody, and welcome back. So here I have the screen swivel kit from Hansho that we're getting ready to install in the Model Y Juniper screen. It's actually a lot easier than it looks. It just has a few pieces to it and should take us about 40-45 minutes to get the whole kit in there. It's actually really easy. So here's what we're going to do. This is the actual mount that we're going to put into the panel. And all these pieces, they're nothing more than fascia pieces, just that's going to cover the different spots underneath the screen. But this is what's actually going to hold it in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is turn the power off. And we're going to do that by going to the safety menu, scroll all the way down, and we're going to press this power off button right here, verify one power off. And that effectively powers down the vehicle and it powers down the screen. So we're not sending electrical spikes through the system as we start to disconnect this stuff. First thing we want to do, we want to get under here, and you're going to see a little notch that's right here. We're going to put our little trim tool in here like this, and we're going to pull this panel down. And it pops right out of here. And here we have the temperature sensor that we're going to use our Torx wrench and remove from this panel, and we're going to save it for later. And in order to do that, we got to push down on this little clip, and that's going to free up the clip to go upwards. Now that we've got that free, all we gotta do is this. I'm gonna pull that up, and now it should come out. There we go. And it slides right on out. And there's your temperature sensor. So now the next thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna wind up taking this temperature sensor. We're gonna put it aside for right now because we're gonna disconnect it from this plate and attach it to the other plate before we throw it all back in there. Okay, so now that we have our temperature sensor removed, we're going to remove these two big bolts that are holding the screen onto the dash here. I don't have my tools on me today, so I'm having to use what's in the kit. If you have a 10mm socket, I highly recommend using it. That would make this job a whole lot easier. Boom. These things are solid. There's a second. All right, so now that we got the bolts out, we can now pull the screen off because that's all that was holding it on. And we're going to disconnect the connections from the back there and go ahead and take it off. There we go. You can see where the whole thing just comes out of the bracket here. And we're gonna wind up taking these, unplugging the wires from the back of the screen. All right, so what you wanna do, you're gonna disconnect these screws that's holding this fascia piece in. You're gonna wanna use your Torx wrench and you're gonna wanna unscrew those screws. They come out pretty easily. There's one, and the other is buried over here. There you go, got it. There it is, boom. So that gives us access to the back of the screen here, where they have these two pins, and we're going to remove both of these pins from the back of the screen. That is a safety pin. Oh, okay. This is a safety pin. This is a safety clip that makes sure that the clip stays in the back of the screen, and we just want to remove that before we can actually remove the plug. Okay, got this pin off. This is the safety pin that we have to remove prior to removing the plug in the back. It's actually designed such that it keeps the plug into the screen because you don't want your screen becoming unplugged while you're driving down the road. So this is a safety clip to make sure that does not happen. The secondary safety is located right here. It's this little pin right here that you're gonna push in and then pull out. Ah, there we go. You really make sure that you can't pull that out of there. It's that important. So now that the screen is removed, all we have to do is now just take our back fascia, pull the wires out. Okay, so we're removing the temperature sensor from that plate that we had earlier. And what we're going to do, we're just going to use our Torx wrench. Here comes our screw. There's one screw. Now our temperature sensor comes off just like that. We're going to set that aside. Once again, another piece you can put away for posterity's sake. Here's the actual swivel itself. We're going to mount it into the bracket. The roundish part goes on top. And it's only going to go in here one way. So we're just gonna slide that in, just like that. We're gonna take our cover that we have from the kit, run the wires through it just like this, and it's gonna go over the mounting bracket. And it's gonna slide in here. Gotta make sure it goes, there we go. There we go. Now it fits in there. So now, remember the screws we took out earlier? Remember these things? We're gonna put them right back in, and we're gonna put them in right here. So we're just gonna attach that one and this one. We're gonna grab our wrench, or preferably our socket, which we don't have right now. Screw those in. Now we got those in, now we can mount the screen back. Okay, so now that we have our bracket remounted, we can now take our plate and we're gonna make sure that the holes are facing downwards, because what's gonna wind up happening is this is all gonna go in here like this, and eventually it's gonna mount to the holes that are on the screen. We're going to actually plug the screen back in. Plug back in, number one, and we are going to put our nice retaining clip on there too, because we don't want it to come out. Boom. That's now securely back in there. That's not coming out. Now we can put our other wire back in there. So our screen is now reconnected. Okay, so just make sure that this safety clip here is in all the way, and make sure it's out of the way, because if it's not in properly, it will prevent you from putting the actual plate on. You gotta make sure the white clip is out of the way. If the white clip's not in the way, it won't go on properly. See what I mean? There we go, just move it out of the way. Now, boom, it's on properly. And now we're just gonna put our screws into the back of the monitor. Oh, by the way, I did put it in screen clean mode, just so that I won't change anything, because the power off keeps coming back on. All right, so we just put the screws back in. We'll put the other one in over here. And just to clarify, these are the same screws we used from earlier when we took the other fascia off. And we'll get the other one. All right, I'm going to tighten these down. All right, those are now tightened down. So now this is going to allow this whole piece to slip in here, and we're going to put our bolts that came with the kit into those. So it's going to slip in just like this. I'm going to take out 2 bolts that came in the kit, and we're going to now attach the screen to the swivel with these, and hoping that I'm turning it in the correct direction. Try to tighten this up. There we go. Got in there. Now that we have the screen mounted, we got to put our temperature sensor back in it. And in order to do that, the very first thing we got to do is attach the connector that we took off earlier, which is underneath here. And it slides back in just like that. The very next thing we're going to do is attach this plate. Remember, these 2 clips that are to the inside here, they're going to go to the front side of the vehicle. The ones that have the wider stance, they're going to go to the aft side of the vehicle. They attach just like that. And from here, all you're going to do is just snap this plate into place. All right, so now we got the screen swivel in here. It was a very easy install, truth be told. Like I said, it takes about 40-45 minutes to get it done. But take a look here. Now we can tilt our screen left and right, up and down. And one of the best parts, unlike the previous screen swivels that you've seen in the past, this screen swivel does not drop the screen at all. So the screen actually stays at the exact same height as it was when it was installed. So the only thing you're going to notice between this and before you installed it is the fact that it now swivels. Other than that, it's at the exact same height. It looks great, functions great, and I got to tell you, you know what? This is probably one of the most important installs in any of the Teslas that we do, is the screen swivel install. I think it's the one that brings one of the most values to the vehicle, because I use it a lot personally, and I think it gives it a much better feel when you have the screen facing you and being able to work everything on the screen once you get it installed. So thanks for joining us. Hope you liked the video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what you think of the screen swivel, and I'll talk to you again soon. Peace.